So people talk about porn and masturbation, and we're trying to figure out really what's the big deal about this. This whole porn thing, is it a male problem? Are women affected by it? Is it something that predisposes one gender or the other towards porn?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. So throughout the world, more men than women consume pornography.
I assume that, yeah.
So even the statistics that are normally put out there, you see in every country on earth, there's not a single country where more women than men consume pornography.
Yeah.
All right? Why is this so? This happens primarily to men because, one, men can connect sexually without having any emotional tie. Men are predisposed. The way we are wired, a man can have a sexual encounter without an emotional encounter very easily. Okay, and that's what porn offers. Porn offers an instant sexual encounter that is devoid of an emotional encounter. Okay, many women struggle with that.
And that explains why men sleep with prostitutes.
Exactly.
You don't need the emotion.
You don't need to know her name, know where she comes from. Okay, you're titillated sexually and you want the sexual experience without the emotional experience. All right. Okay, that's not to mean that men separate the emotional experience from the sexual experience. It's just that the emotional experience hits them much later. It does eventually hit. But just that as far as impact is concerned, okay, men can land on their feet first.
You know, I remember watching a movie. I can't remember what movie it was. It's this guys who, two guys who meet at a party and they start making out. And the girl stops and she says to the guy, shouldn't we get to know each other? I don't even know your name.
Yeah.
And the guy's response is, well, what if we, no, she asks, should we get to know each other first?
Yes.
And the guy's response is, what if we don't like each other?
Yeah.
So let's just continue with this. I get the illustration.
Yeah, I mean, that's a perfect illustration. Yeah. That just shows how men and women are wired. You know, that a woman connects sexually when she's been invested emotionally, right? And so because of that, there are many women who would find porn very disgusting. Because they're like, how?
Because there's no emotional, who is this guy?
You know? However, one of the primary things that makes a man predisposed like that is is the chemical that God put in us called testosterone. Testosterone is a chemical, that makes us desire women sexually. You see a woman on the street and she's good looking, your head turns. That's testosterone. When you see a woman and you get turned on, that's testosterone. Okay, it's responsible for libido. It's responsible for facial hair growth. All that. It's what makes men men. Okay, so. Your body produces a healthy dose of testosterone. It's as if our bodies have been made in such a way that it produces a healthy dose of testosterone.
They know what's just enough.
That's just enough for you to function as a man in a healthy way. When you consume pornography, you order for more than you can use. Okay? So the body produces excessive testosterone, and that excessive testosterone, what it does is that it puts you you are hypersensitive. Sexually.
Yes.
You're hypersensitive.
Your desires are heightened.
Exactly. Women who are not even sexually provocative become sexually provocative. You keep saying that, oh, it's the way they're dressed. You look at that woman in a buibui, a Batman, and you go like, yeah, I want her. Why?
It's like your standards drop. You're just like any woman will do.
Exactly. In fact,
that's why men are called skirt chasers. As long as she's wearing a skirt.
It's true. Some studies even show that with excessive release of testosterone in a man after consuming explicit entertainment, a man can even be sexually titillated by a mannequin. The mannequins, those in the shops.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. Simply by seeing anything that has a feminine shape.
That's really profound.
It can do that. So because of that, porn has an upper hand with men, and many men get hooked onto it. That's not to say that women are not. Okay. Women also have some degree of testosterone. Okay. And women also can get pulled into that by that. Okay. However, many women often rush to pornography because of should I say an emotional accident that happened somewhere in their lives, okay? And they're looking for something to just numb themselves, okay? And many times it is pornography. Okay?
What do you mean by an emotional accident?
Like so you find for example, you've had a tough marriage, okay? Or you've had a very nasty childhood experience, okay? And one of the ways to just numb that is through pleasure, okay? And what does porn do? Porn provides that instant pleasure. There are people who actually even numb horrible sexual experiences like rape, like abuse, okay, by getting into more risky and more promiscuous behavior. What they're trying to do, it's a form of denial, okay? Psychologists call it repression. You're repressing that memory and you're trying to replace it with all these willing, all these activities that you're doing willingly, right? And so you're getting deeper and deeper into promiscuity, but the root of it is that emotional accident that I'm calling, right there, that needs to be fulfilled, right? But men can be titillated very easily. So because of that, you find that more men consume pornography than women.
And that makes sense.
In fact, here in Kenya, there was a time Pornhub released a study about 2-3 years ago, and they were showing porn consumption in every country, and in every country they showed more men than women consume porn. And then there were 10 countries where the ratio of men to women was fairly, the gap was closing, Though of course definitely more men, but they noticed these 10 countries, there are more women than men, and Kenya was number 3 on that list.
Oh wow! Yeah. Okay.
And of course there are other factors.
And why is that?
Well, they say the study was showing one, easy accessibility to internet, fast internet, 4G, 5G, and then you find easily accessibility to smartphones, the democracy of the nation. You find that it's not very punitive if you're caught, for example, or rather, you find that you don't have moral police who are really out there to find you and lock you up and what. So there's a lot of freedom and democracy, and that puts that into practice. However, the funny thing is that in every year they normally release a list of the top 10 porn consuming nations, okay? And there's a certain period in the between 2010 to around 2017 thereabout, when some of the top 10 countries were very religious countries.
Oh, really?
Right?
Yeah?
Out of the top 10, 6 were Muslim states. Okay. With Pakistan being the head. Okay. And Pakistan is known to be the home of Sharia law. India was in the top 10. Okay. Vietnam was also in the top 10. Now, Vietnam is not very religious, but it's known to be very communistic. Okay. So, in that list, you found that out of 10, there were about 8 very, what you'd call conservative countries. And guys would wonder, what's the case? Okay, you would think that conservative values would repress,
shield
that,
society.
But what you find is that there's a form of denial, okay, and at times are hiding behind religion, okay. Well, that pornography is consumed by men. In fact, there's a certain incident in Pakistan where one of the leading broadcasters had a stream of porn. Someone, I don't know what happened. Someone hacked to the system or plugged onto the system, and it showed porn for a couple of minutes, and it made the headlines. And they're like, oh my goodness, it was so bad, I can't believe it, this is Pakistan. What? And guys are like, how did you know? How do you know? How long did it run for? Oh, like for about 10 minutes. How do you know it's 10 minutes? I had it from Korea.
Leave Korea out of this.
So that's the other thing. And the other thing about porn and men is this. Studies show that men who consume pornography tend to have more favorable attitudes towards rape. Porn actually promotes rape culture. The more men consume,
porn promotes rape culture.
It's true. Okay. The more porn you consume, or the more sexually explicit content you consume, the more you titillate yourself through masturbation and all that. The more you bring yourself to a point where you actually implicitly, not explicitly you'd be like, no, please, women's rights. But there's an implicit belief that is deposited by porn that women are available for use. Because that's what pornography shows, okay? In fact, the average porn star retires at the age of 27, okay? You're out, you're old, they bring in new stuff, okay? And the women on pornography are often forced to do things that they don't want. And the man is often portrayed as a dominant figure. And the woman is not resisting. The woman is what people would call, she's submissive sexually. That sends a very passive message implicitly to men that women actually want to be raped, or women who are raped have some share of blame in them. And you actually find men who don't understand, but why was she walking at night? But why was she dressed like that? And they can't reconcile. They can't reconcile it. Why? Because that message has been embedded so deeply inside of them. Let
me ask you. I mean, I'm learning so much just listening to you, and I'm trying to figure out. I have a couple of questions. One of them is, oftentimes we are trying to answer this porn question downstream. People are already addicted, they're already in it, and we're asking, how do we get out? And we're going to talk about how we get out of it. But I'm trying to figure out what's happening upstream. Why are people landing in this thing in the first place? What's causing people to end up, in this addiction?
Well, I don't know about you, Korea, but for me, the first exposure I had to sexually explicit content was at the age of, I would say, 15. Okay, that's when I was exposed to it.
Mine, I'll be honest and say, mine was probably at the age of maybe 13 or thereabouts.
Yeah.
We went to a friend's house and someone popped something in. I didn't know what this was.
Now, did you grow up in the city?
I grew up in the city, yes.
Yeah. So now, people who grow up in cities, people who grow up in urban areas, it's shown that the average male is exposed to pornography at the age of 10.
At the age of 10?
10, yeah.
Okay.
And many times it's accidental or it's intentional. You know, you find there's some sort of, passing down of,
check this out,
at the age of 10. So that's one of the reasons that, people get into it, right? Another reason is, could be abuse. You find, like here in Nairobi, I'll tell you from the classes I teach, there are many men who actually say they were abused by their house helps.
Yeah.
And
yes, I've heard that a lot.
And that brought just...
But then also family members, like guys from Shads who come, and cousins
exactly.
and whatnot.
And that just raises your sexual curiosity, and you find yourself down a path that you did not intend to, okay? The other thing is that we live in a hypersexualized culture. We live in a culture that is hypersexualized. Entertainment, our music videos and all that. And all those collective efforts, put someone in a position where you end up either stumbling into it or willingly looking for it or out of curiosity, stumbling into this thing, and you find that you start going down the rabbit hole, So those are some of the reasons that people go down that. That's where the upstream point begins. Yeah.
Ernest, so really eye-opening conversation. I can imagine there's someone who's watching this thing shared with someone, and they're like, okay, maybe I am an addict and I don't even know. Maybe they're going to identify issues that they have, or people even who know, me, I'm already stuck in this thing and I don't think there's any way out. How do you help guys come out? Like, what do you tell guys, someone who's stuck? How do I come out of this thing?
All right. Okay. So think of porn like if I may borrow like a sci-fi analogy, think of porn like a big alien warship, that's coming to colonize Earth, and it's got its big cannons, and it's got its huge cannons. It's got the main cannons that are firing out.
Star Wars.
So Star Wars, so you want to take out the big cannons first.
Okay.
Before you deal with the main ship, if you don't take out the big cannons, you'll have your entire fleet obliterated. Okay? Yeah. So what are the big cannons? Shame, guilt, self-condemnation, fear. Those are the big...
Shame, guilt, self-condemnation, and fear. Those are the big ones.
Those are the big ones.
Big emotions associated
with pornography.
Okay.
Excuse me. So because of those things, it's very hard for people to be free and to be liberated from the struggle of pornography. Okay. If you knock out those big four cannons, people tend to soften up and people can receive their healing. Okay. So traditionally, it's been thought that if someone is addicted to anything, alcohol, any substance, drugs, whatever, send them to an institution. Send them to a rehabilitation institution, we've had many success stories, and we applaud those institutions. We applaud what they're doing. We applaud the work of the scientists, the doctors, the psychologists, and all the professionals behind those institutions. However, there needs to be an added component to what those institutions are doing. The new science is telling us that addicts recover in the context of strong family relationships. Why?
Addicts recover in the context of
strong family relationships. Why? There's something that you get from those strong family relationships that count as what porn is offering. Okay? Porn's main... Porn is actually... Porn's lie to you. The bait of porn is that you'll be affirmed, accepted, appreciated.
That's what people are looking for.
That's what we're looking for.
In the experience.
Whether they know it or not. Okay? You're looking for affirmation. You're looking for acceptance. You're looking for appreciation.
Oh wow!
Okay, and so the pleasure that you get from it, you feel affirmed, you feel accepted. Family relationships give you that in a very real way. Porn promises that in a very fake way, and it overpromises and underdelivers. Okay. However, family relationships give that.
Okay.
And family relationships are real. The moment you have family relationships where people recognize that this person is an addict, And what do? They accept them. They say, hey, we still accept you. You get, the shame is knocked out.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
the shame is knocked out. And you find, the guilt is knocked out, you know. The moment family encourage you and tells you, you know what, you're not the first one, you'll get out of this. And by the way, there's hope for you. And by the way, your life will pick up after this. The self-condemnation is knocked out, you know. And you realize, these people should condemn me. Why am I condemning myself, you know? And if you still condemn yourself, even after people don't condemn you, then there's a hidden canon of pornography that you're not seeing. It's an invisible canon. It's called pride. Pride is this canon where you feel like you must pay for your sins. You know, you must pay for. You know, you feel like, Christ, come down, let me die instead. You know, you know, Christ has already died. You know, so it takes a
and I get that because it's connected with guilt, because you feel guilty.
Yeah. You know,
yeah, so I get that.
But you want to recompense,
to pay,
you know?
for your,
and the reason you
want
to recompense is because you're basically, people say, no, I'm better than this. No, you have to just accept, no, this is where I am right now. I accept the situation. So family relationships offer an avenue where people, the shame, the guilt, the self-condemnation, and the fear that, hey, you know, my family members are not afraid of me. I'm not some freak, you know. That helps the addict just first of all calm down, you know. All the lies that come with that hyperrealism just, you know, calm down. And then now what you have to deal with now is the discipline and the behavioral issues, you know. And so you now start addressing this person. You find that that person is very willing to be open. He's very willing to say, you know what, these are the times I watch it. This is when I watch it. I notice I watch porn when I go through a tough time. The day my boss shouted at me, I found myself going watching porn. The day I fought with my girlfriend, I found myself watching porn. The day I was discouraged, I'm like, aha, you are looking for something after your boss shouted at you. Okay, that thing you're looking for, your family will offer it to you. Okay, your close members will offer it to you. Okay, so when I was struggling with porn, I was afraid my girlfriend would leave me. You know, much later when I told her, she was like, why didn't you say this earlier? You know, I would have helped you.
At what point did you tell her?
So I told her after the recovery. You know, I told her after I received my recovery.
The reason I'm asking you is because I'm trying to figure out if a husband is addicted, at what point does he tell his wife?
I think first of all, a man should have fellow men who are supporting him, such that by the time he confesses to his wife, he has provided some sort of leadership. Because when it comes to, again, relationships, one of the core desires of women is to see men take direction. Okay, so confess it in the context of having received, having friends, having male friends who are offering you that.
So you're not dumping it on her and saying, help me.
Exactly.
Because that's not the space for that.
Exactly, it's not. Okay, but when they see that you're actually getting yourself out of the rut, many women, in fact, it's been proven, okay, that even when couples get to places where one is on a bed because of terminal illnesses, more women stay than men. Okay, so they need to be that confidence that will happen. Okay, it's not a guarantee. There's some people may be like,
there's a risk.
I knew who you are. You know, now you've proved yourself, and
there's a risk.
There's a risk. You know. But it must be taken. It must be taken. All right. So that's the first thing, and then you must actually treat the problem on all three levels. Talked about the problem on body, soul, spirit level. So on the body level, you must literally avoid your feeding points, your trigger points, okay? If it's entertainment, you know, I remember when you were telling me just before we recorded how during that time when people were consuming Game of Thrones was really a hit, you know, how there's a correlation because after Game of Thrones there'd be a spike in porn consumption.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, they said that every time a Game of Thrones episode aired, the major porn sites experience a surge.
Yeah. So that GOT was a trigger. Okay, what are the things that are triggering you? You cut them off. You starve yourself from them. Okay, and then you introduce an accountability system where people can ask you tough questions, real questions. Answer people who are not in your life periodically. The people in your life very personally, very constantly, intentionally, you know, and people who will not just dance around so how are you doing today? You okay? Oh, you're okay. Oh, good, let's go. People will be very, you know, how have you watched it this week? What's going on? With the backdrop of strong, healthy relationships, you will get out and you will be free. Okay?
Let me ask you, I mean, I love it. It does sound though that you need to have a certain environment around you. And I'm just trying to figure out, what if I don't have that environment? Actually, two questions. What if I don't have the environment around me to be able to provide that strong family setup, because you've talked about family replacing some of those issues. I think that's one thing. But what if I open up to people and they don't help, or they step back?
Yeah. And that's a normal reaction.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a normal reaction, and it's painful, but you shouldn't be too surprised by it, because many people don't know what to do. Even at times for ministers of the gospel, when I hear someone tell me, "Oh, Ernest, help so and so," I feel like, "Oh, it's so big. Can I find someone who can do it?" Because we often think the problem is so overwhelming. All right, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That first step must be made. And so even if it means perhaps you look for, and this is where I'll just shamelessly market the church. Go to the church. Go to the church. If you can't find family, you can't find friends, go to the church. Go and find a minister of the gospel, find someone with the same gender so that it's not awkward, and just speak, just tell them, this is a starting point. If you don't have that family connection, have a faith community, have another community that is outside your family that can offer you that solid foundation that can help you recover from that. You need that. There is no recovery apart from working relationships. Okay, there's no recovery apart from it. People normally say, even at times when we have our sessions, Powerhouse, we normally say, when you come to Powerhouse, please understand you'll be in a group for the 8 weeks you're going to be here. People like, me, I want to come, but I don't want to be part of the group. You just want to attend, listen, then go. Tell them you won't be healed. You have to come. You have to risk vulnerability.
And we'll talk about Powerhouse in just a bit. It's my next question. But I like what you're saying, because what I'm hearing is that you must have some sort of desperation to get out and say, listen, I'm going to look for a community. I'm going to look for someone. I might fail the first time. I might fall flat on my face. I might speak to someone and they're just like, whoa, I don't know how to help you. But there is a sense for, if you're not desperate for it, and if you don't say, oh man, I really need to get out of this thing, then you constantly play it safe.
It's true. And you must choose your deliverance over your dignity.
Oh, wow. That's a quotable quote.
Yeah.
You must choose your deliverance. Tell us about that over your dignity.
Yeah. I mean, your deliverance is your freedom. Your dignity is, I don't want people to see me as this guy, I remember this famous preacher, Derek Prince, used to say, dignity is not a fruit of the Holy Spirit, you must be naked.
That's our pride.
It wasn't Derek Prince, it was Reinhard Bonke. Reinhard Bonke used to say that, So our pride, our macho ego.
So your pride stands in the way of your deliverance. Of you being free, and at some point you must say, if you don't put your pride down, you will never get to the place of deliverance.
So if you choose your dignity over your deliverance, you lose both. But if you choose your deliverance over your dignity, you lose your dignity for a moment, but you'll regain it and end up gaining both.
That's really profound. I really like that. Now, you've talked about Powerhouse, and I don't think you've even given context for this, because Powerhouse is this amazing program that you run with the Relationship Center that's really porn delivery. I want to ask, so someone is watching this thing and they're like, okay, what are some resources? I'm happy for you, plug all your resources, but where can someone turn if they need help?
Yeah, so I'll just smile because say porn delivery. We don't deliver porn. We could, but we don't.
We need to be clear about these things.
But you're right. It's a porn addiction
recovery. That's good.
So where can you find us? First, we are an online ministry. I know it sounds ironic. But the reason
I'm trying to stay away from my triggers, man. You're sending me online.
But the reason we're online is because of COVID-19.
Yes.
We used to meet physically, but COVID happened, and so we're forced to meet on Zoom. And also because of that is that we've got people who come from all parts of the world.
Okay.
We've got guys from the Middle East, Australia. This year, after we went online, we had a community from the US. We had a few guys from the UK, one guy from Israel. So when we noticed that, we're like, okay, we're actually reaching more people. And in fact, I was surprised that the men were still as committed, still as intimate, and so it's working. Okay, so we have it run for 7 weeks, and then on the 8th week we have a physical activity where we climb Mount Longonot. Okay, so it's part of just also helping us, conquer our minds. Because throughout the 7 weeks we're trying to get the men, hey guys, conquer your mind. Conquer your mind, get free, train your body, beat your body, let it be subject to you, not you be subject to it. So it's free, we don't charge for it, it's absolutely free, and what we just ask guys is guys to give to the ministry that we offer. So it's for men only, Okay, many people ask us, have you started one for the women?
I was going to ask you that,
right?
yeah.
So we've got one that we're planning to start for the women called Girl Power. So it just needs lots of prayers because we need to pull resources, people, facilitators, teachers. So that's something that's in the works, you know. But right now, Powerhouse is running. Also, I've got my books out. You know, I've got one of my books called Lust and the City, a guide on sexual purity. I wrote it in 2014. It's absolutely free. You can go to our website.
Yeah, give it.
Penshop.penstrokes.co.ke. Okay, the blog is penstrokes.co.ke. So just before Penstrokes, just add Penshop. Penshop.penstrokes.co.ke, and there you'll find a variety of resources. Some for purchase, but Last in the City is specifically free. Okay, so you can download that for free. There's also my book Holy Joe. You can just look for it. You can buy it on the Penshop as well, and can be delivered to you. You can get it on Amazon.com. We also there are also lots of resources online. I suggest covenanteyes.com. I suggest fightthenewdrug.org. I also x3watch.com, and x3watch is actually a filter that can help you. It will give you resources, but at the same time it will also help you you know, just curb your online activity,
protect your browser from accessing certain sites. Oh man, that's absolutely amazing. Guys, this has been such a good conversation. Ernest, I'm so glad you came. This has been one of my favorite conversations. And I don't tell everybody that. Don't feel that way.
I'll ask your producer.
Don't watch my other episodes. But it's one of my favorite conversations. And I think it's such an important conversation. And why this particular episode, in this series, I keep saying, if you know someone who needs it, share. Because I really do feel like it's an important thing. It's one of those things that's just shrouded in darkness and in mystery, and people are drowning all by themselves, and you have got absolutely no idea. And the work that you're doing, absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much. This has been Always On, conversations on church and culture, pornography and masturbation with, I was going to say expert, but with Ernest Wamboye. Thank you so much.